State District 45 representative, another one of our neighbors, Anne-Marie Gurney.
Hello, I am Anne-Marie Gurney, and I live right down the street off of 74th Avenue. I'm a business owner and a mom, and I'm so glad Mr. Dembro came and kind of gave us a little synopsis of his voting record, and I'd like to just give you another perspective of it. And I'm going to go really fast here. Some of the things that he voted for, many of the things he voted for, is personal income tax increase, keeping in mind we are hovering around a 10.5% unemployment rate. It just came out yesterday. We have about a 17% underemployment rate. So we're taxing people who are hurting. Hospital and insurance premium tax increase, transportation fee increase, gas tax increase, corporate tax increase, disconnection from the federal tax code and a tax increase, sunsetting of tax credits, judicial system fee increase, document and recording fee increase, hunting and fishing license surcharge, invasive species boat fee increase, hunting and fishing license fee increase, sheriff's fee increase, elevator safety program fee increase, death certificate fee increase, well construction fee increase, quality care fund increase, mortgage lending system fee increase, ambulatory surgical center fee increase, Board of Clinical Social Worker fee increase, propane tank installation fee increase, motorcycle rider fee increase, aircraft pilot registration fee increase. I'll stop here in a minute, I promise. Board of Dentistry fee increase, enterprise zone fee increase, firework program fee increase, geotechnical reporting fee increase, prevailing wage rate increase, Measure 49 filing fee increase, got to put a fee on that too, Justice Department fee increase, real estate background check fee increase, Employment Relation Board fee increase, field burning permit fee increase, and this is an interesting one, making rules fee increase. The Secretary of State on this one must establish and collect fees from state agencies for filing and administrative rules. So it's just kind of an exchanging back and forth of fees, and it's just for agency budgets inflating. In regards to what Mr. Dembro said about the general budget not expanding, he's right, but there's this other part of the Oregon budget, that's the other budget. That was increased by 20%, and that's where all the fees are attached to, and he voted for a whole lot of fee increases in our communities where you can't afford it. Another vote that really got me going was he talked about the school budget. The school budget going into the 2009 biennium, this changed a little bit since then, was $6.2 billion. Mr. Dembro and his associates ratcheted back that budget, as you heard, because we're in a downfall, to $5.8 billion, with the agreement being that he and others would approve a $6 billion budget if 66 and 67 passed. They wouldn't if it didn't. So what they did, in other words, instead of looking at our school budget as an essential service, which I think it is, they kind of voted in the crisis and put our kids on television commercials that our schools would suffer and our most vulnerable citizens would suffer if we didn't vote in 66 and 67. And I'm not here to argue over 66 and 67, I'm really not. But he and others created the crisis. Bottom line, as a parent and a voter, what do I see here? Holding back a fully funding of our schools, holding our kids' education hostage, and forcing our hands as voters to agree to a tax hike. When honestly, we didn't need it. The crisis was created, it wasn't real. He and his colleagues also had a chance to make school funding a priority. I was actually in the House gallery at the time when the school budget was voted in. It was one of the final days of the session. There was a lot of fiery discussion over that. And do we vote for a full budget or diminished budget and all of that? When actually weeks before this, there was a bill, HJR 9, that would have made school funding a priority. It would have required the Legislative Assembly to pass a school budget for K through 12 education by the 81st day of the Assembly. In other words, at the beginning of the Assembly, not as everyone's packing up their bags getting ready to leave. It would have also prohibited compensation to legislators if the bill didn't pass. They had to make it a priority of funding. He voted no on that. Other notables that he voted on as well that are really common sense things to me. Tax relief for families while creating jobs. House Bill 3469 was a jumpstart bill, and it was very specific. It was to be, this was the summer of '09, it was created a tax credit for capital improvements to business facilities or homes that were commenced by September 1st. It was a home improvement project, and if you got it started before September 1st, you got a tax credit, but it created economic activity in our construction community that was heavily hit by the economy, still is, And projections were that it would create 6,000 jobs. He voted no on that. House Bill 2440 would have established an auditor's office. I thought there was an auditor's office, there isn't, to improve oversight of state funding. He voted no on that. Senate Bill 623 directs the Public Utility Commission to allow higher water rates for metered water systems serving fewer than 500 customers. We already have laws like that. The Public Utility Commission testified in committee saying, I can already do that. We don't need this legislation. He voted yes for that. So we just put legislation on top of legislation. Rainy Day Fund. House Bill 2900 would have transferred 1% of the general fund to the Oregon Rainy Day Fund at the beginning of each biennium. I don't know about you, but my parents always taught me, pay yourself first. Put some money in savings first, pay your bills and what you have left. You work within what you have, but you save a little bit first. That's exactly what this would have done to our budget. He voted no on that. We would love to have a rainy day fund right now. House Bill 3469 would have created a child tax credit for the poorest of poor. People with reduced incomes for Oregon's low-income households. It was relief for the very poor. It would have created 19,000 jobs. Mr. Dembro voted no. House Bill 2926 would have required every county to have one veteran services officer, and that doesn't really apply much here to Multnomah County. We have a lot of veterans here, we take care of them, but for the rural communities where they have to drive hundreds of miles to get to VA hospitals and things like that, this would have given them a liaison type person to get them their services. He voted no on that. Expands the ability of an employer to prohibit the use of medical marijuana in the workplace. And I'm not going to argue the medical marijuana thing. That's a whole different issue. But I do think employers should have the right. You might be an employer that has heavy equipment machinery. I don't want my people driving those that might be using medical marijuana. People who are in the healthcare, all of that. He voted no on this. It did eventually pass, though. I hope you hear this quick synopsis and come away with a few things about our current incumbent. The messing around with our school budget really bothers me. We have a constitutional law that we must fund our schools. It hasn't happened. We keep diminishing it. I don't know where the final budget needs to land, but to sit here and take money away and move it around is unconscionable to me. He's had many opportunities to get Oregonians back to work and has chosen not to. He's had many opportunities to truly help those in Oregon who are most vulnerable and needy and voted no. He's voted for a whole lot of increased fees that do little except make things more expensive for those of us trying to stay afloat. When you raise the price on many of these little increases that I talked about, we all pay for that when we go to the grocery store, when we hire a delivery person, when we pay our utilities. All these little things cost us. That's why everything is going up. And I know that state services cost money. I'm not saying that that's not true. But in the words of our president, who said this before the 2009 Legislative Assembly, it does not make sense to raise taxes during a recession, and yet it happened a lot. These fees for most families are coupled with, hard-hitting, coupled with unemployment, diminished wages, diminished working hours, higher cost of food and utilities, and it is a double whammy. Mr. Dembro and his colleagues need to heed the advice of most of our parents and spend only what we have. If you want another legislative assembly, a session that increases the cost of running our state by another 20% in the other fund, not the general fund, during what is looking to be a continuation of our recession, please, you vote for him, that's fine. If you want somebody who's kind of a fiscal tightwad and wanting some more reasonable expenditures that create real jobs, vote for me. If you want someone to not play fast and loose with our school budget, vote for me. If you want someone to represent you, not special interest group, vote for me. Northeast Portland needs a change. We're hurting. 1 in 5 of us are unemployed or underemployed. And I am here for you, and I have no time left from what I can tell, but I will be at my table back there. Thank you very much.